सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Okay, I think Narmala ji, can you start reading the attitude of prasad?
Yeah, this one. The attitude of prasada. Imagine that you are visiting your friend at his house. As he welcomes you, right in front of you, he picks a flower from his garden and gives it to you, saying, "Welcome to my house." The flower is given as an expression of love or of friendship or of respect. The flower is still a sense object. You can smell it. Suppose the same friend picks the flower and places it at the feet of Lord Ganesha in a shrine he has in his compound. He then brings the flower from the altar and gives it to you. What will you do with this flower? Will you smell the flower? It is not wrong if you do, but you no longer look upon it as a sense object, even though it is one. You have another way of looking at the flower. It has nothing to do with your physical eyes. It has nothing to do with your intellect either. There is a change of heart, a change of attitude. What is the attitude? It is an attitude that converts that simple object into prasada. This is not ordinary. We take it for granted. Growing up in this culture, you have this attitude that anything coming from an altar is prasada. Prasada means there is glad acceptance. There is no translation for prasada, even in Indian languages. That attitude is born purely of your appreciation of the fact that it comes from the altar of the Lord. This is living a life of awareness. It is extended to every karma phala. Only then it is a life of karma yoga. A life of karma yoga is when you live your whole life with the awareness that every karma phala is prasada from the Lord. Whenever an action, karma, is performed, karma phala unfolds. You can do a few things, but a lot can happen suddenly. The person may collapse. He may not be there to enjoy the result of his action. Therefore, you live prayerfully. Prayerful living implies understanding that it is given to you to do while the results come from the Lord. So you take them as prasada. What happens now? Prasada means that you accept the results with equanimity, no matter what they are. You cannot but recognize, be aware of that. If the result is more than you expected, you recognize that. If it is less than you expected, and sometimes even the opposite, you recognize that also. I have a stock example. You want to cross the road and catch the bus. It is a good example because two results are involved here. You want to cross the road and you want to catch the bus. The first result is crossing the road and catching the bus is the second. If both are fulfilled, the expected is gained. You cross the road and catch the bus. This is as you expected. Then you cross the road and a friend offers to drop you home in his car. It is more than what you expected. Very rare, but it happens. The third result is you cross the road and when your turn came, the bus conductor said, "Right, even though it was wrong for you." This is less than what you expected. Then you were crossing the road. 4 days later, you wake up in the emergency ward of a local hospital asking fundamental questions. Who am I? These are the 4 types of results for every karma without exception. You take all these results as prasada, equal prasada, a prasada that draws a smile from you. If it is more than what you expected, it is an amazing prasada. You are grateful. It is containable. If it is less than what you expected, it is a prasada with a murmur, but manageable. Then it is the opposite of what you expected, prasada. On waking up, you ask, "Oh, I'm in the hospital. What happened?" "You were knocked down by an auto rickshaw." "Thank God, at least I woke up." It is not an easy prasada, yet it is prasada. When you take all situations as prasada, your responses are containable. Your likes and dislikes do not take you for a ride anymore. In fact, you ride on your likes and dislikes. You have the preparedness to take the results as they come. It makes you more courageous, adventurous. You are much more effective, really. You can undertake more actions because you do not have the fear of failure. The fear of failure is the worst enemy for living a dynamic, adventurous life. A good singer cannot sing due to fear of failure. A good writer cannot write due to fear of failure, fear of disapproval. It is all the same.
So yeah, basically we have seen this again in Gita, that equanimity in accepting the results of action. I heard one Isha Upanishad talks that it was a kind of summarized Isha Upanishad by at Kailash Ashram. So there the Swamiji is saying, we you often hear this word Nishkam Karma in Neo Vedantic circles in the South. So I was always averse to that word earlier, because it doesn't make sense, because you don't expect anything from action. Then why? Then there is no purpose to do any action. If we only if we expect anything, will we do some action? So I was a bit averse to this word, but in Isha Upanishad talks, Swami Divyananda Saraswati ji mentions this Nishkam Karma as, if you do Nishkam Karma, it will not bring any attachment for you. It will not bind you. Every karma binds except Nishkam Karma, he says. So there he presents the correct shastric view of this What Nishkam Karma exactly is. Nishkam Karma is basically, Lord has said in Gita that if all karmas will bind you except those done as part of yajna, done for yajna. So one may mistake this yajna to be some particular kind of ritual, but yajna is also a, what is it? It's a name. It's one of the names of Lord Vishnu. Vishnu as in Ishvara. So yajna is basically Ishvara. So whatever karma we do Ishvara, after surrendering to Ishvara, whatever karma we surrender to Ishvara, it will not bind us. So basically what we are doing is we have an expectation that we have an expectation. I am writing exams to definitely for winning, for passing, but I surrender it to Ishvara, and whatever the result may be, maybe I may fail or I may pass, or uh, I may pass with, as he said, it may be better, amazing results, or it may be lower than expected, or um, worse can happen, one may fail, but still while doing, while before writing exam, I have a purpose to pass. I study as much as well as I can, and I write the examination. After that, I have already surrendered it to Ishvara. Now whatever the result Ishvara gives is prasada. So basically, we are in that way we can actually, that is how we do Nishkam Karma. We have some expectation uh, for there is a purpose for our action, but we are not we understand that once we do karma, we are already surrendering to Ishvara. So what happens next is not in my hand, and we accept what happens. The result is we accept as Ishvara's prasada. So that is basically Nishkam karma. So, same is explained in a different way. As usually, since the Neo-Vedantic circles use this Nishkam karma, and Neo-Vedantic circles are actually more. I have seen more. It has influenced more in the south. So I think Pujya Swamiji usually avoids that word. See, many acharyas. I was listening to another Swami Shravanananda from. He's a disciple of Swami Akhandananda. His Yoga Vasishta I am listening to, and that also there also Swamiji used this word Nishkam Karma. It seems it is quite common in North, and it is understood well actually. It is understood in its right sense. So this is one of another way of explaining the same as Buddhism.
Thank you, Shambhubai.
Is there any question or anything we can discuss? Anything more?
I just shared my feedback about the bus and crossing the road. You can read it later.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I think we can start. Who's next? Okay, Pasuna ji, you can start reading for Yoga Karma.
Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. Discretion in action. Efficiency is the byproduct of an action. It is not the criterion to determine whether one is a karma yogi or not. The sentence Yoga Karmashu Kaushalam is often translated as skill in action is yoga. It would mean that a pickpocket is a great yogi. Nobody can pick like him because he just comes near you, picks your purse, and then smiles. Hey, how are you? He would have passed on the purse to one of his gang and will be standing by your side. Could you please scroll it down? Yeah. And the purse to one of his gang and will still be standing by your side, sympathizing with you. He is very skillful in action and therefore a yogi. Lord Krishna says he is very dear to me. Skill in action is yoga is a wrong translation. In any Sanskrit to English dictionary, you will not find Kaushalam translated as skill. With reference to our actions, we must use our discretion.
Kaushala.
Discretion, Kaushala. What is not to be done is avoided, and what is to be done is performed properly. Any action we do is done with the attitude that it is our offering to the Lord, Ishvara Arpana Buddhya. This is yoga, discretion. Then is with reference to the choices involved in action and involves our appreciation of Ishvara as well. So Kaushala is discretion, the need to discern the right action. Sometimes it implies interpreting what is right. Dharma is to be interpreted. Dharma also is a manifestation of Ishvara. It is universal because we all commonly sense that. Just as gravitation is sensed by every human being, so too we commonly sense that what is dharma. What others should do to me, should not do to me is very clear. The whole Jagat should behave properly towards me. Even the devatas, gods, should behave properly. Nobody should hurt me. Everybody should be understanding, compassionate, and giving. This is what you expect from others, and you also know that others also expect the same thing from you. That means it is universal. This is called Samanya Dharma. Then there is Vishesha Dharma, what is appropriate or inappropriate at a given place and time. There is no dharma and adharma involved. It is purely appropriate and inappropriate. For example, we have etiquette for dining. Suppose there is etiquette that we eat only after the prayer. What do you do? You may not believe in it, but you follow what is appropriate. Food meant for eating is in front of you, therefore you can eat. But you wait for the prayer because it is inappropriate to start eating before that. An inappropriate action disturbs people. It is a kind of himsa, hurt. Therefore, dharma is to be interpreted. A person being responsible for his or her actions has to choose, for which there must be norms. The norm should be available to all by common sense without being taught. Common means it is universal. For human interaction in the world, dharma exists which we all commonly sense. Dharma is a manifestation of Ishvara. It is not something that is revealed by God in history. We do not need revelation with reference to dharma because it exists in the heads of the people. Dharma means what is right, adharma means what is wrong. We do not say good and bad, we only say right and wrong. Right and wrong exist in the world. When you switch the light off, the light goes off. When you switch it on, the light comes on. There is a right and a wrong action. If you want to open the door, there is a way of doing it. When you want to lock it, there is another way. Right and wrong exist for every action. You cannot avoid right and wrong. While talking, there is a right way of speaking and there is a wrong way. Even to pronounce a word, there is a right and wrong way. It depends on how you operate the various parts of the organ of speech when you deliver a sentence, a word, and a letter. It can be corrected also. You have voice modulation. You should know how to use your voice box. There is voice culture. People undergo voice culture. A wrong use of the voice can cost one's voice. In everything, there is something right and something wrong, appropriate and inappropriate in the world. It is not created by a human being. Culturally, there are appropriate and inappropriate expressions which are man made. Yet, they are connected to and can disturb the Samanya Dharma. You can disturb or you can fall in line, be in harmony. The way you dress, what you wear, your demeanor, your decorum, everything has something appropriate and inappropriate. Samanya Dharma, right and wrong, is already a manifestation of Ishvara. I know Dharma, at the same time I know what Kaushalam appropriate is. I need to use my discretion. I have to interpret. Therefore, Yoga Karmashu Kaushalam means whatever I do must be in harmony with Dharma, which is Ishvara. When I choose an action, I must be aware that Dharma is Ishvara. It is not something that I choose. There is no choice. This is how it is. It is a fact, and there is an immediate result, Drishtaphalam, of enjoying the harmony. When I do the right thing at the right time, I am in harmony with Ishvara. When when I rub against Dharma, the action attracts Drishtaphalam, which is conflict, and Papa is the Adrishtaphalam. A reaching out karma is to help someone because I am in a position to help. I can help in many ways. If not by kind, I can help by good words. Giving time to another person is also a help. A reaching out action attracts punya. Your raga dvesha, likes and dislikes, are incapacitated, neutralized so that they do not to create problems for you. They do not create any pressure because of your awareness of Ishvara. Suppose you find your raga dveshas are more powerful, then you seek help from Ishvara. You pray, Lord, let me have the strength, the patience to wait, to conform to Dharma. You can ask for it. The more you ask, the easier it becomes because it is already you. The common sense knowledge and you, the cognitive person, are identical. Basically, you are cognitive. What you know is what you are. Therefore, it is easy. Seeking help by itself brings drishtaphala. It makes your understanding real. When you recognize, appreciate Ishvara as not only the karma phaladata, giver of the fruits of action, but also the dharma swarupa, the very form of dharma, you have no problems. It means that what you wish to do is what is to be done. What you do not wish to do is exactly what is not to be done. In the beginning, there will be a conflict between what you want to do and what is to be done. For example, getting up in the morning is a struggle, but after some time it becomes your habit. You cannot get up later. In time, the raga dveshas themselves disappear from you because you are not there to go along with them. There is no conflict, no guilt. Do not go by raga dvesha. Go by dharma, not adharma. This is the life of karma yoga. There are no bad actions or good actions. There are only right actions and wrong actions. This is what is the reality. You live You live in awareness of this reality. You do not rub the law. When you rub the law rubs you. That is the law, that is Ishvara.
Yeah, this is the second, and it is kind of more important because this Kaushalam part is often ignored and not taught in many by many teachers. So, and in many translations, I have heard some teachers saying that um, some Vedanta teachers and Neo Vedantin saying that uh, Nishkam karma is important, and you have to accept the result. You should not expect anything. You have to accept the result, whatever it is, whether you like it or not. But you can do anything. If you can do without expecting any result, you can even practice theft or killing somebody. You can even do a dharma if you can do it without any expectation. I have heard people saying that that is extremely wrong. Here, Swamiji and the Gita itself stresses the importance of karmasu kaushalam. This kaushalam is basically discriminating between dharma and adharma and going by dharma. So that is very important. So that is more important actually. We not only surrender to Ishvara, but also we follow the order of Ishvara. We do not go against Dharma. Dharma is also Ishvara, therefore we follow what is Dharma. Yeah, Karma Yoga is being beautifully explained. We have seen it in Gita also. So Sunaji was not there, I think, in that time. Yeah, it was last year. Now next is solving the quiz. Start.
Nadion, can you scroll? Yes. Ishvara, the super therapist. The emotions of a person are not always mature. Psychologists term our emotions as the unconscious, and in our terms we call it kashaya. The Shastra accepts that there is such a thing called kasaya. Every ego, ahankara, has a conscious part and an unconscious part. The unconscious part of the ego is called kashaya. You cannot control the unconscious because you do not know what it is. That is why it is called unconscious. It is the other side of the ego, the flip side. Wherever there is an emotional response, emotional commitment, you find this unconscious makes you lose objectivity, dispassion. It requires a process of release. In real life, it comes out all the time when you relate to people. but you do not have the insight that it is your unconsciousness manifesting. If you have a general understanding of what the unconscious is, you can be more objective, but for which you require space, meditation, prayers, or understanding of Shastra and satsangs. All these are helpful. Modern society has evolved a method of pulling out this unconscious by allowing the person to talk it out, to cry it out, and to grieve it out. There is a specialist, a therapist, who himself or herself has undergone certain processes, many hours of therapy. Once the therapist has a license, then he or she allots specific time to the client. There's a payment, which makes it a completely professional relationship. The person develops trust and tells his or her life stories that he or she would not tell anyone else. The factor of trust is so important. The person has to open up and speak. The emotions have to be validated, for validation is an important element in therapy. Every human being has core issues. When the unconscious opens up, it is the child, the adult child, that comes out. The therapist is supposed to listen to all this and validate the person, the client. Yes, you see, if I were you, I would be the same. He knows it is a law, psychological law. Only then can he say that. He sees the psychological order. In the beginning of therapy, however, this is how it has to be. He has to go by the adult child's perception. Sometimes the therapist is accused. This is what they call transference. It is very difficult for the person to feel validated totally, unless the person takes the therapist as being totally infallible. The therapist also is fallible. He takes money, and that is the first fallibility. Yet, if he does not take money, the therapy will not work. Being fallible, you doubt, therefore, I lost it. Therefore, where is the question of absolute trust? It is not possible. Total validation will be lacking. It is not complete. That is why once you go to a therapist, you keep going forever. You need to seek help from a source you can totally trust, a source that is not fallible or subject to failure. The one who has to validate you has to be infallible. Unless and until you discover the infallible, you cannot have total trust. The Lord is both the maker and the material cause. If that is so, everything that is here in this Jagat is a manifestation of Ishvara. The Lord is all power, almighty, all knowledge. How do you understand all knowledge? Knowledge means there is always definiteness, certainty. For instance, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. There is certainty when you study the laws, the behavior of objects. You have different disciplines of knowledge, and the Lord is samasti, total knowledge. For instance, when you study physics, you are not studying one physical object, you study physics in general. When you study physiology, it is not your personal body physiology alone. You are studying physiology in general. The samasti jnanam, not vyasti jnanam. Then we come to vyasti. Vyasti means individual. There again, there is samasti governing the vyasti. If there is a tumor in the given individual body, vyasti, you study the tumor. If it is malignant, there is a particular type of treatment. If it is benign, there is a particular type. If it is benign, the procedure is much simpler. The lump is removed and it is over. The individual is treated with the samasti jnanam. Therefore, when you study physics, physiology, biology, or any discipline of knowledge, you are studying Ishvara. That is why we include all vidya, all disciplines of knowledge, as Ishvara's knowledge, which is all knowledge. There is nothing secular in knowledge. You need not know all of physics, but you know there's a branch of knowledge called physics. Physics means there is a physical order. You can take it as Niyati order. The entire physical order is a manifestation of Ishvara. That is why it is available for knowing. The physical order is not separate from Ishvara. There is a biological order because of which there are life forms. There is a physiological order, prana, because of which there is health, ill health, and so on. Then we have a psychological order. My fears and anxieties are not unfounded. I understand that I am not a special person who is persecuted by some forces. Once I understand the order, there is no personal persecution anymore. The psychological order is Ishvara. Then we have epistemology, the intellectual order that studies the theory of how a human being gains knowledge. The basic person, the cognitive person, who is within the order of knowing, is another manifestation of Ishvara. We have already seen that the order of Dharma is a critical manifestation of Ishvara. Where there is Dharma, the other side is Karma. Without Dharma, there cannot be Karma, because Karma means Punya and Papa. Without Dharma, there is no Karma. Without choice on the part of the doer, there is no Karta. And without Karta, there is no Punya and Papa. We have so many orders of manifestation, and we can say all this together from one Maha order. Maha order means it is one cosmic order, total order, which is Ishvara, all knowledge. Ishvara being in the form of order, there is no fallibility possible. In fact, you do not discover Ishvara as infallible, you discover that he is infallible as Ishvara. You now have Ishvara as supertherapist in your life. When there is a feeling of persecution, please understand the infallible God is there very much in that feeling in the form of the psychological order. The infallibility of the Lord in your awareness is always there, for you as a super validator. Your trust is total. Therefore, you cannot have one single bit of a feeling that is outside the cause-effect relationship. It is Samasti, it is Ishvara. When you see that, you get inner space, and you are free from that feeling. This is called super-validation. You are always validated. That is how Ishvara helps you as the super therapist. Therefore, understanding Ishvara is so important. Ishvara in the form of order pervades you all the way. You cannot be alienated from him at any level in your day-to-day life. As an individual, you are ever related to the total. You are the basic person who plays different roles. The space of freedom, while playing any role, lies in the awareness of your inseparable connection with Ishvara. That is surrender. Conformity to Ishvara is called surrender. Om Tat Sat.
So we finished the text. It was a bit long session, but I think it was clear. Is there any doubt or anything to share? Yeah.
No, just reflecting. A long topic.
Yeah. Yeah. Last topic was a bit long. Yes, we can close up here. Or is there any doubt or anything we can discuss?
I was just trying to understand samasti jnanam, vyasti jnanam.
Samashti is the total knowledge, and Vyasti is anything. Vyasti always means individual, related to that particular. It is particular knowledge. So related to me as an individual, something like my mind is called our one person's mind is Vyashti Mans, and Samashti is the total mind.
Okay.
Similarly, in case of knowledge, Samashti is total knowledge, and Vyashti is it is more like Samanya Dharma and Vishesh Dharma. It is the total is Ishvara, and Vyashti is always Jiva. Jiva related to Jiva.
Oh, another terms other than
Yeah.
Vishesha Dhyan. Now we learn Samasti and Vyasti. Okay, thank you.
I have also not gone through this last topic, so if you want, we can have an explanation or something by either Prashantji or something.
Yeah, I think he'll be covering, right, in the next class. Prasunaji has a question.
Yeah. In line between correct and wrong. Yeah, it is actually subjective. We cannot. We have to understand the particular context. Can you provide any specific context or any specific example? I can then try to.
No, in the book, in the last paragraph, it was told that there is no good and bad, but there is correct and wrong.
Yeah, what is to be done and what is to be good and bad. I'm not sure what's on given. I think it is basically, there is nothing like good or what. There is what we have to do. Actually, what our duty is, what is right, what is dharmic to be done, and what is adharmic, that is against the order. There is nothing like something is good or bad. There is nothing good or bad only. If we are doing in line with the order, we are doing what is in line with the order, the Ishvara's order, then it is right or dharmic. And if you are doing against the order, it is adharmic. There is nothing, there is no good object, or there is no situation like something is always good and something is always bad. That is not there.
Yeah, makes sense. When you say it has to be, in line with the order of Ishvara, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. When we say good, like something is, when we say something is good, that has to be always good. And like we can say that if we say that like, yeah, killing is bad, then we cannot accept that our soldiers in the border, or those who are
Yes.
defending us, doing
Yes.
that killing is not accepted. That also becomes bad, but
Yeah.
that is not correct. It is contextual.
Yes.
For the defense of the nation, for the defense of our people, for the security of others, they are doing some violence. That is, in that context, it is dharma. It is their duty to do.
Yeah.
Soldiers, or yes. And in the context of if we do some harm for our personal gain, or maybe because of we want some revenge, we harm other, that is wrong.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
Is there anything else, or yeah, we can close up? I'll ask Prashantji to maybe if he can
Yeah, you
explain
can.
a bit
Yeah,
on
you
this.
can cover this more, as I will miss. So it'll be nice to get the examples, more examples.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shamu bhai. You also
Next class.
explained. Yeah.
We can have next December 4. I'll be free then. I'll ask Prashantji. Okay, then we can close. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sai Gudyo. Hari Om.
Thank you.